very much as racially charged. But I think looking at Soul the Wit and just viewing it from the formal idea of text, reading his sentence number 15, since no form is intrinsically superior to another, the artist may use any form, from an expression of words, written or spoken, to physical reality equally. Number 16, if words are used and they proceed from ideas about art, then they are art and not literature. Numbers are not mathematics. So really just seeing how he uses words in a very strong way as art, and knowing that you've gone through projects that you've used text, I'm sure you've explored this and you're comfortable with this. Others might really say, no, if you use words, it's not art, only pictures are art, or something like that. He has some a quote of his I found that he wants to make language into a physical thing, something that has real weight and force to it. And art critic Richard Myers says that from his earliest text paintings to his most recent installations, Lijan has challenged the apparent transparency of language by changing the intended conditions of its display and reproduction. These changes have resulted in language that is difficult and sometimes is impossible to see. As Lijan himself observes, I've always taken text to the point of disappearance in my work. The artist uses disappearance to figure the limits and absence that lie at the heart of identity, and to suggest that individual subjects never align neatly with the overarching terms of race and sexuality. So I think he's an example of an artist that, in the social realm, is upsetting things, putting language back and making us a little bit maybe uncomfortable with the ways we perceive race and its representation both in text and in image. I do want to talk quickly. Here's just another example of some of his more recent work starting to use image in a similar way to the text. This is his self-portrait. And then another one of his powerful works, just America. I did want to talk really quick, since we only have 5 minutes, on Soul the Wit. He's really, again, my mentor Tim, he once said that Soul the Wit is one of the most important American artists of the 20th century. So that's really stuck with me, and it's really had him be one of, I think, my guiding lights, an artist that I look to a lot for content, and I return to his artwork quite a bit. But one of the main things to know about him is he really never touched any of his work. He doesn't really touch it hardly at all. All of his work is made up of instructions that he then gives to a fabricator or a crew to install within the gallery space, or to create works on paper, or to create paintings or structures. So here's an example of one of his instructions that you can see his signatures on the bottom. This is a certification. His signature signs those instructions. That means the owner can install this in their house. They can install it in a museum, and they can install it many times as long as it's only installed once at a time. But some of his works on paper are just this simple, just a line going across the page, shapes overlapping, the instructions to overlap shapes, lines in one direction and lines in the next direction. And then these can leave the area of paper to be installed as in gallery spaces. I'll make it dance for you. It's a small picture. This is at the National Gallery down in Washington. Some other wall murals. And he's incredibly prolific. He's made hundreds and hundreds of thousands of artworks in this way. An artwork that's at the Philadelphia Museum of Art. This is in the 20th Century Galleries on the ceiling. Is the blue mural on the ceiling from both directions. The museum also owns one of these Swirls and Whirls sculptures, which is one of his more recent. He did one of these right before he died in 2007. He was making these using 3D graphics, where he would give instructions for 3D sculptor designers to make these sculptures. How much time do we have? Do we have 4 minutes?
More like two.
2 minutes?
Two.
So I'll run through really quick my quick initial explorations to the drawings that you gave me. I didn't really get much time at all, so I'm gonna spend a lot more time again over the next 2 weeks coming up with stuff. Hopefully, you're gonna take. I'll email you more specifically, or talk to Mr. Miller about what you could do from here on out. But I'll show you just my initial explorations. I scanned in everybody's drawing. What I do is I convert these. You can see how it's a little cleaner here. In Illustrator, I trace your drawing, which allows me to turn the drawing into a vectors. So it becomes like an Illustrator drawing now. It's no longer a Photoshop scan. What I then did is I broke everybody's drawings up so I could move them around and arrange them in Illustrator. I took before I got your instructions yesterday afternoon, I just started following, Glenn Lygen's pattern of little ones at the top, big ones at the bottom, and that was just my initial, after I scanned them in, I put them together like this. After getting your instructions, I found some earth tones. I got myself an image of the bottle rack and traced that. And then I really just started thinking digital, like almost little digital, those circuit board cards and things like that. It was my initial response about putting one of the drawings behind. And my initial thing was first just piling these up on top. I don't think it's going to keep like this. It's just my initial design. You can see how all the drawings are overlapping when you look close. And then the instruction to bring out bright colors, it's really pathetic, my first thing. I just started putting things on like a Christmas tree, but I don't think it's going to remain like that. I'll go at it from some different ways too. So now that you've seen this, you can give me new instructions if you want it to be a little bit more specific. You saw how I took your initial few instructions. You can set that in other directions. Did the bell just ring?
Yeah. See you guys. Some kids are still here, but so can we alter the instructions too?
What's that?
The instructions that we gave you.
Yeah. Yeah, give me additional ones. Okay. Now that you've seen what I've done, if you give me additional ones, I'll try to follow them as best as I can.
Okay.
So I want to give you this certain sense of distance control over my process as much as you want to. I thought your instructions were they gave me a lot of room, which is fine. And that's what I did with a lot of room. If you want me to be more specific, I can get more specific.
I think the students wanted to give you as much room as possible.
And a reminder that our library will close today.
They enjoy what you do, so,
Yeah.
I don't think she knows that I have to go yet.
So the way, just having you make sure that there's the drawings and things, judging by the reactions they were going on behind me just a minute ago,
Yeah.
they're taking it big time.
I don't know how to.
Nice. Cool.
All right. Well, I can move on to the next class here. So it's great to see you guys again.
You too.
We'll talk soon.
We'll talk soon.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.